Well, this rear windshield definitely isn't getting clean in the rain. And the issue isn't just a bad wiper blade. The arm is quite loose. You can see how easy it is to flex it. There's also very little tension on the arm. This means at high speeds, the arm does not make contact with the windshield. So I bought all new arms from RockAuto, and I'll show you the entire process to replace all three wiper arms and blades. In addition, I'll also link all the product numbers in the description below. Starting with the rear wiper, we have to remove the plastic housing by pulling the two clips apart where it touches the metal arm. This reveals the nut that holds the arm in place. With a 10mm socket, remove the nut. Depending on how rusty or tight it is, hold on to the arm so the mechanism doesn't get stripped inside. In some cases, the arm may just wiggle loose and be incredibly easy to remove, but in this situation, I can see the rust holding on to it. So let's remove the plastic cap fully by pulling it apart at the bottom to detach it. To make the removal really easy, I'll use my wiper arm puller. I'll also place a link in the description below, as this tool has been amazing to remove difficult arms without any damage. This tool just slips around the collar of the wiper arm and then just tighten it in place. Essentially, it works the same way as a gear puller. I felt the arm move slightly, but it definitely didn't travel a lot before I started to feel it tighten down. So I'll disconnect and reposition the arm puller and try it again. This time I can feel and see the arm traveling, which will release it from the spindle. And there you have it, the arm removed without any force that could wreck the motor or even shatter the glass. Here's the new arm out of the box from RockAuto. Now this kit also comes with a blade, which I'll show you how to install in just a moment. This should just slide on, which it does, but it doesn't seem to want to slide in all the way. It's just sitting a little bit proud, and you shouldn't have to force it on. I can see there's a buildup of some corrosion or debris that's likely stopping the arm from sliding on fully. If you experience something similar, just clean the spindle with a utility brush to remove all the excess debris. Now let's try this wiper again. It's going in further, but for some reason it doesn't want to stay in position. So I looked at the old one, which is factory, and I see the stainless collar has grooves in it that slide onto the spindle to help hold it in place. Now compared to the new one, which is aftermarket and it has a brass collar with no grooves. This really isn't an issue, it just means that once tightened, the soft brass will conform to the spindle and make its own grooves for friction contact. With that solved, we could go ahead and place the arm in position. Positioning is key. The Fiat 500 arm does not touch the paint, so place it horizontal to the body line if you can't remember the original position when you removed it. Hand tighten the nut to hold the arm in place. Then tighten it with your 10mm socket. Test it to make sure it's snug because you don't want it to loosen while using it in the rain or snowy conditions. Insert the plastic dust cap. Now my kit came with a new one, but you can easily reuse the old shield if one was not provided. Start with the hinge side and then close it with a snap. And of course, test it to ensure it's snug. My kit also came with a new blade, but what if you needed to remove and reuse your old one? Without knowing how to remove it from the old arm, it can be a bit tricky. There's a plastic compression clip that goes into the top of the wiper blade from the arm. To release it, simply pry it apart like so. This allows the blade to disengage from the arm. Now just pull the blade forward and it'll detach fully. And to reconnect the blade, just reverse the process. Slide the wiper blade onto the arm hook and then close them together, which pushes the compression clip into place to firmly hold the blade. As you can see, it's a fairly easy process to detach and reconnect. Even though I'll be installing a new blade, you can easily follow along with the old one if need be, as we just reviewed how to install it. Sorry, I didn't realize this went off camera, but again, I just showed you a close-up of the install process. If you are installing a new one, it's likely to be a little bit tighter than the old one. With it now in place, the yellow on the blade is just a rubber protector, so remove it immediately. Before we test it out, you can see how it sits parallel to the body line. The dust protector is firm, the blade is in full contact with the glass, and there is solid tension from the new arm, which will keep the blade pressed against the glass at all speeds and conditions. Of course, test it before moving on to the front ones. As you can see, that works perfectly with full coverage on the entire wiper blade area. Now we could tackle both wiper arms and blades. First, we had to remove the two plastic trim pieces that are attached to the windshield cowl. Now they have a hook side, which is closer to the driver's, and then a pressing clip, which is towards the passenger side. Starting with the side closer to the passenger, slowly pry it straight up. And then just pull it to release the hook side. Here's a closer look at the push-in clip and the hook. And the passenger arm clip is removed the exact same way. Now we have to remove these rubber grommets. With a flathead screwdriver, go under the grommet and pry them up slowly. It doesn't hurt to inspect them for tears or wear marks. With a deep 13mm socket, loosen the nut that holds the wiper arm in place. If you're going to use a shallow socket, then attach an extension onto it because the cowl will be in your way. Now the arm should just pull off, but since the back one gave me a hard time, I suspect this will be the exact same. Yep, it's not budging at all. Now, it's okay to apply a bit of force, but not enough to damage the linkage or crack the windshield. This isn't going to come out easily, so on to plan B. In case you're wondering, you can't use the wiper arm remover on the front because of the positioning of the cowl. It's just in the way. And the only way around this is to remove the cowl, which I really don't want to do. So as you can see, there's just no room. I'm spraying WD-40 in and around the stud to act as a penetrating fluid, which should loosen up the debris after a few minutes of soaking in. After 5 minutes of soaking, grab the wiper arm and tilt it up towards you for a better grip. Unfortunately, there's no magic to this. You just have to wiggle it gently and pull it straight out. I can feel it loosen and almost free. You just have to be patient and keep pulling it with moderate force. And eventually it will detach. Now let's repeat the same on the passenger side by removing the nut with a 13mm socket. Spray some penetrating fluid around the stud and let it sit for 5 minutes. Because the passenger arm is longer, you'll have to close the hood so you can fold the arm upwards towards you for a better grip. Similar to the driver's side, wiggle the arm gently while you're trying to pull it straight out. Again, take your time and be patient because you don't want to damage any of the linkage or crack the windshield with excessive force. When reattaching the new arm, the driver's side is the shorter of the two. Again, I will place the product number in the description below so you can easily source the correct one for yourself. Because I don't have the wiper blade on the arm, I'm placing a cloth on the windshield in case the metal arm slips out of my hand and hits the windshield. I just don't want the glass to potentially crack. As a tip for alignment, it's best not to clean your windshield prior to the installation of your new wiper arms. Your old wiper blade would have left a debris mark at the bottom of its downward sweep, so all you have to do is align the new arm to it and you'll have a perfect placement. And push in the arm so it's nicely seated. Now reattach the nut by first hand tightening it, and then use your 13mm socket to attach it firmly. Similar to the back wiper arm installation, make sure that it's snug. Now the passenger arm is the longer of the two. Place a cloth on the windshield where the arm will come in contact with the windshield. Again, the cloth is more of a preventative measure because you don't want a cracked windshield while replacing the arms. Place the passenger arm on the stud and align it to the old wiper blade mark for correct positioning. Then just push it firmly onto the stud. Hand tighten the nut. Then ratchet it on firmly. Close the hood so it can focus on the wiper blades. If you're going to repurpose the old wiper blades, you have to release it from the old arm. One of the more popular hook types has this push tab where the blade and arm connect. Press the tab, which releases the wiper from the arm, and then slide the arm forward to detach the hook. Then just slide it through the opening to separate the two. To reattach it, just reverse the process. Insert it through the opening at the top of the blade and slide it onto the hook of the arm until you hear the release tab click. Then check it to ensure it's secure. Another popular style of wiper blade has the release tab on the top of the blade, which needs to be pried with a flathead screwdriver, because lifting it with your nail will likely be too difficult. Once the tab is lifted, the arm can then be pushed forward to release the hook. Sometimes it's a lot easier to work with new parts versus trying to repurpose the old ones, as plastics can get brittle over time. To install or reinstall the lift tab style, just reverse the process. Ensure the tab is fully up so the arm hook can slide into place. Then close the tab to lock in the blade. And of course, ensure it's secure and making solid contact with the windshield. Install the rubber grommets by pushing them back into place. Here is the driver's side and the passenger side. Lift the hood back up so we can insert the cowl trim. The hook side or driver's side goes in first and then push in the tab to secure it. Repeat the same for the passenger arm, which means the hook side is towards the driver and the push tab is towards the passenger. Finally, you want to test the new wiper arms and blades to ensure you have great contact and full coverage of cleaning. There you have it, a full tutorial on how to change all three of your wiper arms and blades, along with what to look for, in addition to the tools that are needed. Now this car is set to handle the winter months. So make sure you help to keep this channel going by hitting that like button, sharing this video with a friend. Also, please comment below as I reply to all. Plus, don't forget to subscribe. And we'll see you next time on your home garage.